We want a business that supports us, and we want a business that gives us joy. And part of joy is knowing our numbers, knowing our systems, and connecting with Geraldine and making that appointment. Because people, here we are at the end of January, and you have now got all of 2025 ahead of you. And we need to have got those goals in place. Mentoring with Geraldine is a bite-sized practitioner podcast for naturopaths, nutritionists, herbalists, coaches, and practitioners. This podcast responds directly to the needs of you, the practicing natural therapist. We have interviews during the holiday season and business and mindset support each week, so you'll get the variety you need to enjoy and stay motivated in your practice. Don't forget to subscribe to receive the weekly episodes. And if you want to connect with me, always check the show notes, because that's where you'll find the links to book appointments and, of course, to join the Academy, the membership group, where there's constant connection and community with like-minded practitioners. Now, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mentoring with Geraldine and the Bite Size Podcast. How the devil are you? Well, we're at the end of January, aren't we? And it's been an amazing 2024, and 2025 is already stacking up to be a good year, or at least as it is in my books. Okay. I've already had people contacting me wanting to be in my group for the new year. And I can't wait for you to ask me to join our groups as well, because it really is good in the monthly group on the Mondays. So we have 3 Mondays of the month, and you get time to ask your questions. And if you haven't got a question, you just say, I haven't got anything to say today. But people always come up with something. And it is wonderful and it is interesting. And we learn so much from each other. And last week, when we spoke to Marianne, we were talking about systems, weren't we? And systems are really important. And part of those systems are having community. And being in a group like my group means that people have community. And if there's a problem, if they need something, someone else has the answer for them. Protocols really help us to know what we need and where we're going. I don't really like the word protocol, I've got to be honest, because in medicine, when you have a protocol, it's like DRACB. Now, you all know what that is, right? So your CPR, DRACB, you know it because it's drummed into you. Now, that is a protocol, okay? The 30 to 2, 30 compressions to 2, the speed at which you do them, the fact that you don't have to give the breaths if you can't. These are all protocols. These are all from education and training. Now, when we have a protocol and we look up the protocol, it might not be for our client that we follow it to the letter. So I always like to think of these so-called protocols as system support. Okay. That's going to help us make the decisions for our clients. And it means that because we're using a distributor, we can choose the best product for our client based on their symptoms. Okay. So we use what they've entitled a protocol to help us make those decisions. And obviously, I've got groups that help me make decisions too. But when we have our systems, and I did say at the end of that conversation with Marianne, what is it that you need? What system do you need? Do things flow in your clinic? And when I talk about flow, I talk about flow from the very start. Okay. So if you have a physical clinic, how did the person find you? How did they book in with you? And what do they see when they come in? Often when we come into a building, we'll come in a back door or something. So what do they see? You need to take their journey into your space and sit in their chair and see what they see, because then you see the reality of what they have. You need to take the journey as your client, receiving that information from you that you've handed them. What does this mean to them? What I find with a lot of people are words. You say, we're advertising and we're saying metabolism and metabolic. Now, metabolism people get. We've got a metabolism. They hear that word a lot. But metabolic, is that a word that people use in general conversation? We've got to think about our language and what we do, how we speak to people. Then the person leaving, what happens after they leave, how many emails you send them, how do they get their prescription, all of those things. If it's Online appointment, again, how do they find you? Have they easily got the email that's got the link for them to join you? Does the system work so that you can interact really well and really easily with your client? What information can you send them during that consult that they need? What is it that's going to support you as you talk to them? I mean, one of the things that supports me is having a big screen so that I can have things up. I can have multiple things up as I'm talking to them when I'm on the screen. When I'm with them one-to-one, I only have my small laptop open and I have a tendency to write when I see them face-to-face. Whereas when I see someone online, I'm typing. I can look at the screen and I can type. That's another thing that I see a lot of is when I'm working with groups of people and they're talking to me. Now, if they're talking to people online the same way they're talking to me, and I don't mean in language, I mean in how they sit. And are you looking up their nose the whole time? So your client is just looking up your nose. They're never seeing your eyes. It's really important that where their face is directly behind the camera or right beside the camera, so that you're always constantly looking at the camera to look at their photo. You haven't got them and the Zoom screen on like a different screen over to the left, so they only ever see the side of your face. There's simple things like this. What does it look like for them? How does the system flow for your client? Is there ease with what goes on for them? Because if they've got to do, you know what it's like, right? You got to do a ton of different clicking to get to something. You give up. You go, I'm just not going to do it. I just don't care anymore. I don't care enough. I've got to fill out this form. I've got to do this. I've got to click on that. I've got to go over here. I'm on a new, forget it. I can't be bothered. So the system has to flow because you know yourself that you won't do something if it doesn't flow. Oh, I won't. I'll just give up. I'll go, too many clicks, not doing it. Don't care anymore. Forget it. And it's not important enough. If it was important, they would make it easy for me to do. So have a look at those systems. How much does your client have to interact with your systems to make that flow for you? And it is worth paying the money right at the beginning and to be able to have a system that you keep forever and use. If you choose not to, like I've chosen still not to go, because I don't use Simple Clinic myself, as I've said, as much as I love them and I know everybody loves the system, I don't use it because I was around, like her, 2009. She got him to invent a system. She didn't put it out to the world straight away because they had to get the system up and running. I was around doing my thing. I wasn't up for finding a system based in Brisbane at the time. Now, I've got systems in place. Easy for my clients to find me. It's easy. Well, it's actually really hard for them to book in because I'm very particular about my clients. So I've decided over the last couple of years that has to be really hard to book in with me. And there's only certain times of the year that my books are open because I'm going away. And so I have to work out how long I'm going to be seeing them for. And then if I'm overseas, because we're doing a lot of traveling now as I'm getting older, I can't be seeing clients. I can still see mentees. That's not a problem. I can see mentees. Doesn't matter where in the world I am. But I find personally following up with my clients to be not a holiday. That's the best way of saying it. It's not a holiday to see clients when I'm on holiday. Whereas seeing mentees for me is exciting because I'm seeing my friends, I'm supporting people. So that for me, it doesn't take away from my holiday. So I was away last year. I was in Europe and I was in the Northern Territory. So I got Starlink so I could still see my clients in the Northern Territory. I made sure that, yes, we had to meet rather than at lunchtime. We met in the afternoon, which meant that I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning in Europe. So we've got to make things work. We want a business that supports us and we want a business that gives us joy. And part of joy is knowing our numbers, knowing our systems, and connecting with Geraldine and making that appointment. Because people, here we are at the end of January, and you have now got all of 2025 ahead of you. And we need to have got those goals in place. Now, you know I've got a training coming up. If you haven't received the email yet, make sure that you email me on the email list, Geraldine@mentoringwithgeraldine.biz, because the first trainings are up and out. And I look forward to catching up with you on those or in my groups, because I would love to see you in my groups. So connect and have a good 2025. I mean, yeah, I could have said that a few episodes ago, but to me, the new year really starts sort of sometime mid-January. It never starts like January 1. I've got to build up to 2025 or to 2024 or 6 or whatever it may be. So I'm now built up to it. So have a good one. And I look forward to seeing you very much on the next episode. And we won't be talking numbers next time though. So lots of exciting things coming up, which I will announce next time I see you. All the best. Catch up with you soon. Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast for the weekly episodes. If you'd like even more support and learning, then the Academy is for you. Here you'll find part 2 of the herbal discussions, more clinical learning, and case studies to support your clients in practice. Bye for now.